The midnight visitor. The blood on my lips had long dried by the time I stepped into the woman's home. It wasn't opulence that struck me, but the forced comfort. A facade many humans curated to make themselves feel safe in an unsafe world. Throw pillows arranged meticulously, books stacked as if read often, though their spines betrayed their lack of use. The faint scent of lavender mixed with a hint of something sharper. Anxiety, perhaps. "Would you like some tea?" the woman asked, her voice unnaturally even. My compulsion held firm, bending her will to my own, but there was always a sliver of consciousness that resisted, a faint spark that whispered, "This is wrong." "Tea is unnecessary," I said, my voice low but commanding. "What I need is something more personal." Her pulse quickened. I could hear it in the silence between us, each beat drumming louder as she struggled to piece together her dissonant emotions. Fear and obedience danced on the edges of her consciousness, and I reveled in it. "Personal?" she echoed, tilting her head. "Your memories," I replied, stepping closer. "Your essence. Every secret you've buried, every lie you've told yourself to sleep at night. They are treasures. And tonight, I am the thief." Her gaze clouded, and she swayed as if her body recognized the weight of my words before her mind could. I caught her elbow gently, my fingers icy against her warm skin. "Sit," I instructed, guiding her to the couch. She obeyed, sinking into the cushions, her movements fluid, yet devoid of thought. I crouched before her, looking into her wide, glassy eyes. Her humanity was still there, flickering like a candle in the wind, and for a moment, I hesitated. It had been centuries since I'd allowed myself to linger in the presence of a mortal soul, to truly see it. "Why are you doing this?" she asked softly. The question struck me, not because I didn't have an answer, but because I hadn't considered she would ask. Most didn't. They surrendered without question, like sheep before the slaughter. "Because I can," I replied, but the words felt hollow. Her brow furrowed slightly, a sign that my compulsion was beginning to waver. Impressive, I thought. She had a strong will. "That's not true," she murmured. "You don't have to do this." For the first time in decades, I laughed. Not a cruel laugh, but something genuine, born of surprise. "And what would you have me do instead? Repent? Join your charities? Perhaps open a quaint bakery?" Her lips twitched into a faint smile, unbidden. "You could try." I shook my head, amused but unshaken. "You misunderstand me. My existence is not one of choice. I am bound to my nature, just as you are bound to your mortality." "And yet, you hesitate," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The room grew impossibly quiet. She was right. I was hesitating. My fingers hovered over her wrist, her pulse beckoning me, but the hunger no longer felt as urgent. It was as though her words had dulled the edge of my instinct, forcing me to confront something I'd long buried. I stood abruptly, breaking the spell. She blinked, clarity returning to her eyes, though confusion remained. "I should leave," I muttered, more to myself than to her. "Wait," she said, standing. Her boldness startled me. "What?" I asked, turning to face her. "You don't have to leave like this," she said. "Whatever you're running from, whatever you think you've become, maybe there's still a part of you that doesn't want to be this way." Her words hit me like a stake to the heart. I stared at her, searching for mockery or deceit, but found none. "You're wrong," I said, though my voice lacked conviction. "Am I?" The silence stretched between us, heavy and uncertain. For the first time in centuries, I felt something stir within me, something I thought I'd lost long ago. I turned and walked toward the door. She didn't stop me. but her gaze followed me like a shadow. As I stepped out into the cold night air, I realized I hadn't fed, yet the hunger felt muted. Maybe she was right. Maybe I could be more than this. Or maybe, just for tonight, I could pretend.